Well, I'm skulking around New Harmony at night just for fun, and also because I don't know how much skulking around I'm going to get to do otherwise. It's a very pretty night with a 3/4 moon in the sky. I'm going to walk towards downtown where the antique show and appraisal fair are going to be tomorrow. There's a golf cart in the distance there. Golf carts are the way people get around. They come here and they rent them and they run all over town. These guys are having a little drunken play fight, so I'll leave them alone. All good-natured, though. It is a Friday night after all, in a little tourist town in Indiana, and there's a lot of people. The inn that I'm staying in is absolutely completely stuffed. And that was a surprise to me because the parking lots didn't seem very full compared to last year, but what I realized is that a lot of people, because of gas prices being up, are taking group tours, so there's buses in town, and a lot of people came in other ways. Unique art and dulcimer restoration. Dulcimers are definitely a big thing in this part of the country. We're near Kentucky. They, of course, were originally associated with mountain music. Cute little church here. There's some pretty major churches in the town. I wonder if I can hold this more stably. There we go, that's a little better. It's still gonna be bouncy because I'm walking. This building behind me was built in 1822. It was part of the original Utopia, and it was built as company worker housing, I believe. Known simply as Community House Number 2. The side of this building has a painting of the labyrinth. And the labyrinth is a very real thing that exists here in New Harmony. This used to be Wilson Furniture Company, but I don't think you're going to be able to see that because it is pitch black here. Even in the dark, you can tell that this is a special, quaint, and unusual old town. And look, there's an antique show. Now, there are people here for security purposes. They, of course, don't encourage people to wander around here the night before. Dealers are setting up, actually, the night before, as we will soon see. I have dispensation because I have to go to see where I am setting up for my appraisal fair tomorrow. It's the same place as last year, but I need to check the Wi-Fi signal. The nice thing is I can kind of cheat and get a little bit of a preview, even though I can't shop or touch anything. And of course, everybody's covered up. There's quilt tops, there's old tractors. That's cool. I don't think we saw those last year. It's going to be fun to see this all in the daylight. Big old sign, Save Freeway Motor Oil. Wow, it'd be fun to have a big place to put that. That is right out of about 1960. I've been the guy setting up at night before. I know what that's like. A whole lot of tobacco flats. I haven't seen a big stack like this in a while. Looks like a lot of primitives in this space. And a pretty cool lion head umbrella stand that looks like it might be interesting, especially if it's brass. It definitely looks older. There is the gymnasium where I will be appearing tomorrow. Here is the entrance. My poster will go up in the morning because it sits out on the post. And in the auditorium up on the stage, I will be doing my thing. I hope we have a great turnout. I'm very excited to see what people bring. People in this area have really interesting stuff. There are a lot of things still salted away with families that have not moved from these areas for a long time as well. There is the firehouse under new ownership. My friends who owned it sold, and a new couple is involved, and I understand that they are really excited about what they're doing. And I think the fact that they've got this great old fire truck parked out in front is evidence of something. That is really neat. I wonder if we can tell what year or anything about this. This is New Harmony Fire. Aha, okay. This must be owned by the town, and they must just have it out for the purposes of this, or maybe it's owned by these folks. I'll find out the story tomorrow. It's an REO, Ransom E. Olds, same guy as the Oldsmobile. When he left General Motors, he started building REO cars and trucks, and finally just trucks, and they ended up becoming part of White Motors. And yes, REO Speedwagon, the band, is named after this vehicle. This looks cool. I see neat little advertising pieces and some nice little street signs, and I see some quilts, and I see a really neat pellet basket here for the eggs. The pellet company, of course, is the feed company, and they're filling this with hen's eggs thanks to eating the pellet, I guess. Stack of those could sell in the Northwest. I'll definitely be back to look at those. And then we've got a tent here. That looks really cool. I'm not going to snoop in it, but we'll get there. There's a whole bunch of people inside. It looks like they've got a pretty good turnout of dealers as usual. And it looks like they have some interesting things. This one has a lot of pretty pink depression glass that I see, and some other glass as well, and a few bottles. There could be some interesting things in there for certain. I believe I bought from them last year. And there's going to be people here Lots of stuff open. Yeah, this ought to be a lot of fun. Flashing lights in the firehouse. That, now this is actually neater looking by night, so I've got to show you folks this. This is in Firehouse Antiques. Look at that great flashing arrow right out of 1940s Roadside America. We'll return. This stack of old ball jars is sort of eerie looking in the dark. I like the stand. It fits it very well. Cornhole with the clown face. Looks like a little older than the cornhole we think of that looks like carnival stuff. It looks like Backbeats and Just Looking are going to be open, and that's great because I have found really cool things there in the past. I look forward to seeing them again. Very partial to that candy jar in the dots. I especially like it in the purple and the Capri blue. Next to it is an interesting tricolor hall china, late 50s, early 60s casserole dish. Isn't that a great pattern with the blue handle and the gray top and the white and pink? They had to be very careful about how they laid the glaze over that white body to get that to do that. To the left of that is a Camargue piece with that interesting odd elongated Art Deco shape in the blue. Well, in a time where one generation of antique and vintage dealers is getting close to retirement, it's great to see new people getting into it, and here's one now. I do not remember this place from last year. It looks like they have a whole bunch of stuff set up, though, at least for a sale for this weekend, if nothing else. And I see interesting things. It's a nice bow tie. It's not in perfect condition, but it doesn't look really dented, and it is the old Coca-Cola bow tie carrier there, and those coolers are from the early 60s, and they do pretty well. We have a nice 1960s era Buick on this gasoline can. A 1958 540 Cockshut from Waitsville, Indiana. This is cool. It looks like it's in great shape. Probably been restored to some extent. It's very clean. And here is also a Cockshut. I have to find out about this tractor company. I have to admit, I have not heard of this one before. We're all familiar with John Deere and Ford New Holland and all sorts of other brands, but this is a new one for me. Yes, it is charming in New Harmony, even at night. Very nice, very quiet, very still, and yet a fun place with interesting things happening. So we are looking forward to the weekend. New Harmony has a rather unusual designation because it is a national planning landmark, and what they mean by that is that this was one of the first planned communities in the United States. Between 1814 and about 1830, this place really thrived as a secular, as a religious and then secular commune with a lot of really advanced ideas like education for men and women, abolition, and a lot of social compacts that ensured that people were able to help each other to their betterment. And it worked pretty well for a long time. This place attracted intellectual statesmen and a lot of very important people in the early days of Indiana. I just startled a raccoon down the hole. I wish I had gotten that on film. It's wonderful that they put me up here. I'm just very thankful for the opportunity to do this. It's such a sweet place. And well, the New Harmony Inn is quite pleasant inside, and they definitely carry this Spartan Shaker 19th century pine basic rustic design throughout the furnishings. And it's very charming and really very comfortable and clean and nice, and they have a nice restaurant on site, so it's a great place and it's really quite lovely. Now I've got to turn in, so we'll be up tomorrow morning to do the appraisal fair.